Hey, today I'm going to teach you 5 secrets. That's right, 5 secrets you must know in order to speak English fluently like a native English speaker. Are you ready? Well then, I'm Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. All right, secret number 1. The first secret to English fluency is understanding that English fluency is not in your mouth. That's right, English fluency actually starts in your head. Now, as an English learner, you probably have studied English for a long time, which means you've also experienced frustration. Why am I not able to speak like a native English speaker? You've learned tons of vocabulary words, tons of expressions, and so much more, yet you're still not able to speak. It's because of this secret. You see, it's not the number of words you know or the number of grammar rules you know. No, instead, it's how you organize your thoughts. English fluency starts in your head. Let me explain it to you a little bit more. The first thing is, to speak English like a native, you need to think like a native. It makes sense, right? You see, as a native English speaker, I remember when I was in high school, college, even when I was in grade school, my English teachers taught me how to think. They taught me how to organize my ideas properly. That's why I am able to speak English fluently. So you as an English learner need to understand how to think like a native English speaker. It starts in your mind first. You also need to learn how to organize your thoughts and ideas in your head before you speak. This is something that is key. You all know that I talk about the 5 W's. Come on, you know them. Say them. Who, what, when, where, and why. Exactly. The reason I teach you the 5 W's so many times in my lessons is because using the 5 W's, you will be able to organize your thoughts before you speak. This is how native English speakers learn how to think and then speak fluently in English. So you must organize your thoughts. The third thing is native English speakers are taught this in school. I mentioned earlier, I learned this in middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. We are taught how to properly think and organize our ideas. So I want you to stop being frustrated with yourself, because it's not that you are not smart. It's just simply no one has ever told you this first secret. English fluency is not in your mouth. It's in your brain and your mind. Secret number 1. Let's move on to secret number 2. This is again very important for you to understand in order to speak English fluently. Secret number 2 is book English will not. It won't help you speak real English. Book English is actually different from spoken English. Now, maybe you're like, Teacher Tiffany, oh my goodness, if I can't speak fluently after studying a book, what can I do? Don't worry. Let me explain what happened to me when I was studying Korean. When I was in Korea, I was learning. I had tons of books and I was studying hard. But when I would speak to my Korean friends, they said, Tiff, for some reason you sound awkward. You don't sound like a native Korean speaker. Your sentences are not really natural. I was studying tons of Korean books, but I wasn't learning how to speak like a native Korean speaker. I realized those books at that time were not helping me. Let me explain how this applies to you as an English learner. Here's the thing. One reason many English learners like you don't become fluent is that they only focus on English books. Like me, I was only focusing on Korean books, not paying attention to real conversations. I had my books ready, had them open, and I was memorizing Korean vocabulary words, memorizing expressions, memorizing grammar rules, but I still sounded awkward. And you, again, probably experienced the same frustration. Only focusing on English books will make you sound awkward like I sounded when you try to speak English. Learning English from real situations will actually make you sound more natural. Remember, I said I was studying tons of Korean books, but when I realized that I sounded awkward and I wasn't speaking Korean fluently, I stopped. I put the books down and I started paying attention when my friends, my Korean friends, were speaking with each other. I paid attention. Oh, wait a minute, they used that expression. Wait a minute, they used that word order. Let me mimic them. Let me imitate them. And then all of a sudden, my Korean friend said, "Hey, Tiff, you sound more natural. Your Korean fluency is improving," all because I started paying attention to real situations. That's the second secret. Book English won't help you speak real English. If you only focus on the books, you'll never speak English fluently. So you must pay attention to real situations. Listen to native English speakers as they speak to each other. That is secret number 2. Now, what about secret number 3 for English fluency? This is extremely important. Secret number 3 is English conversations have a special flow. An English conversation is like a tennis match. I love this secret because I enjoy showing it visually. Think about a tennis match. You have a ball and a tennis racket, and the person you're playing with, your opponent, also has a tennis racket. You throw the ball up and hit the ball to the opponent. The opponent receives it and then hits it back to you, and there's this back and forth, come on, back and forth that happens in the tennis match. That's how a tennis match continues, moving back and forth. English conversations are exactly the same. There is this back and forth that occurs. And I want to explain these points to you really quickly in order. Going back and forth, which means if you receive a question and you answer it, you must send the question back. Many times, English learners, some of my students in the past, I would ask them a question and they'd answer it and then look at me. They weren't sending it back to me. This is how a conversation is supposed to flow. First, if you understand the proper flow of a conversation, you will be able to go back and forth smoothly. Remember, we're talking about speaking English fluently. It's not always about the words and expressions. If you understand these secrets, you'll be able to speak English fluently, going back and forth. Next, following the right conversation flow will help you connect with your listener. You know, one thing that I know you've experienced as an English learner is when a native English speaker, if you've ever encountered one, comes up to you and asks you a question, you get a little nervous. So instead of sending a question back, you simply answer and you get quiet. And you feel awkward, right? So you're not able to connect to the listener. So that individual feels like, oh, you don't speak English fluently. Simply because you don't understand the third secret, the flow back and forth of an English conversation. Understanding and following the flow will also help you sound more like a native English speaker. This secret is so important. Now, with this secret, again, you have to practice. In order to master this secret, in order to speak English fluently, based on this secret, you have to practice the proper flow of an English conversation. And that actually brings us to today's sponsor. I want to thank Cambly so much for sponsoring this video. You all know how much I love Cambly. Cambly is an amazing company, and their focus is on helping you, the English learner, learn how to speak English fluently, learning how to go back and forth. So they have tutors. They have tutors that are available 24/7. These tutors will help you practice going back and forth. Now, these are one-on-one private English lessons. Again, why I love Cambly so much. Their tutors are from America, Canada, Australia, and the UK, so you can get practice with English teachers that are native English speakers. You have to practice the third secret, the conversation flow back and forth. Now again, Cambly is sponsoring this video because they want to help you master these secrets. And what they're doing is right here, they're giving a free 10-minute lesson. That's right. The link is right in the description because they care about you. They said, Tiffany, we want to help your students. And I said, thank you very much. So I want you to get this free 10-minute lesson by hitting the link in the description. Practice secret number 3, the conversation flow with your tutor. And if you are ready to really take your English to the next level, you can get the 40% off discount of any 12-month plan. 40%. That's an extreme discount because they want to help you speak English fluently. So again, Cambly, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. You, as the English learner, remember you have to master English fluency. And the third secret is practicing going back and forth, the flow of a conversation. And you can do that with the amazing tutors any time of the day. So Cambly, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Let's move on to secret number 4. Secret number 4 is also extremely important. Secret number 4 is the number 3 is powerful. Use it. You see, using 3 points, 3 reasons, or 3 details, this is key to speaking English fluently. That's right. In English, now I told you all that when I was in school, my English teachers, they taught us based on these secrets. I mentioned the 5 W's, learning how to organize your thoughts. But for this one right here, I want to emphasize again, 3, what happened? Look back really quickly. What did we say? We said right here, 3 points, 3 reasons, or 3 details. Here's the thing. Whenever you are talking to someone, whenever you're having a conversation back and forth, when you give your idea or your thought, you need to support it. That's why the number 3 is so powerful. 3 details, 3 reasons, 3 opinions, 3 points, things that will support your idea. You must remember the power of the number 3. Here's another point I want to make. This number 3 is the most important, one of the most important keys to speaking English like a native English speaker. I want you to pay attention. When someone asks another native English speaker a question, that individual naturally goes into 3 supporting details. Why? Because our teachers taught us that way. When I was in college, one of my favorite teachers, Miss Candelaria, she was my English teacher, and she told us the importance of the number 3. She said, whatever your idea is, support it with 3 supporting ideas, details, examples. This is why we are able to speak English fluently. Giving 3 points, 3 reasons, or 3 details will provide the information you need to speak fluently. Someone listening to you will feel, wow, your English is amazing because you're following this secret, the power of the number 3. And native English speakers, I mentioned, we are taught the power and importance of the number 3 in school too. You have to learn what we learn in order to speak English fluently. So again, you can practice with the tutor from Cambly. You can practice in your room. Practice using the number 3 and supporting your ideas. Now, what about secret number 5? Another important secret I want you to understand. This one right here. Confidence comes before fluency. Confidence actually leads to speaking English fluently. This is something very interesting. You see, I know that you want to speak English fluently, and you get nervous when you're not able to express yourself, right? But the thing is, you speak your own language fluently because you're confident in yourself. When you gain confidence, when what you're learning from your English lessons or from this lesson right here, when you put it into practice and you see, oh my goodness, what teacher Tiffany taught me is really true and it's working, suddenly you get confident. Your shoulders kind of go back a little bit, your head goes up, and your confidence will lead to fluency. It happened to one of my students. He was not as confident when he first started studying with me. But then I told him, hey, you can do it. And he started to believe in himself and his fluency improved. So you must remember these things. You need to develop confidence in your own abilities. If you want to achieve English fluency, stop saying sorry. You're amazing. You're already speaking another languages. Maybe it's your second, third, fourth, or even fifth language. You are awesome. Remember that. Have confidence in yourself because that confidence will lead to fluency. The more confident you are, the more natural your English will sound. And I'm going to tell you a story about my experience during story time. So don't go anywhere. I'll say that story, okay? All right. And then in order to gain more confidence in your abilities, you must step out of your comfort zone. If you're used to studying one way and you don't want to record a video, you don't want to have conversations because you get nervous, you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to build your confidence, because confidence comes before fluency. My job, my goal as your teacher, as the one leading you along this path, is to help you gain confidence in yourself. These are the 5 secrets you need to understand, you must know in order to speak English fluently. Now, I really hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope you follow these secrets. And again, watch this video over again to follow the secrets. And again, you will finally speak English fluently. Again, hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can do it. I believe in you. Don't forget to get your tutor by clicking the link in the description. Start practicing, again, the flow of a conversation. Love you all, and I can't wait to see you again in the next lesson. But as always, remember,